This is for Algebra 2 in Apex, section 7.8. Okay, so I've taken kind of just a variety of questions from the quiz that will kind of go over the entire lesson, okay? So the first one says solve the rational equation, and then it gives you this equation. So 2x over x minus 4 minus 2x minus 5 over x squared minus 10x plus 24 equals negative 3 over x minus 6. So the first thing that I always do is I like to look at the denominators, and we're going to focus on all of the denominators. And what I want to do is factor the denominators. Now, really, this is the only denominator that's not already factored. So what I'm going to do is rewrite each of my fractions so that it's in factored form. So like the x squared minus 10x plus 24, if I think of factors of 24 that add to give me negative 10, that'd be negative 4 and negative 6. So x minus 4 and x minus 6 is how I'd write the factored form of that equation, or that expression. So when I rewrite this next fraction, I just write the denominator in that factored form. So I'm going to have on the bottom x minus 4, x minus 6. And I can do that because those are equivalent, okay? Now, the other ones are already, they don't need factored. There's nothing I can do to make them, to simplify them, okay? So now what we're going to talk about is the least common denominator. So for this, for these three fractions, if you look at them separately, like the first fraction, the denominator is x minus 4. So in my LCD, I need a factor of x minus 4. Now, when I include that x minus 4, it also takes care of another x minus 4, or any x minus 4s in any of the other denominators. So this one is also taken care of, okay? Then I come up to my next factor is x minus 6, okay? So I need to add that. And then it would take care of an x minus 6 in any other denominator. Okay, so that means if you look at the bottom, all of my factors and all of my denominators are highlighted, which means like I've taken care of them. So here's an x minus 6, here's an x minus 6. They're in separate denominators so they can count. Here's an x minus 4, here's an x minus 4. So that's our LCD. It's x minus 4 times x minus 6. So then your next step is we're actually going to multiply each of the individual fractions by the LCD. So this first fraction, I'm going to multiply the top by x minus 4 times x minus 6, okay? The next fraction, same thing, x minus 4 times x minus 6. The next fraction, same thing, x minus 4 times x minus 6. And what that allows us to do is cancel out the denominator so that we're actually just solving a regular equation and getting rid of all the fractions, okay? So if you'll see now, this x minus 4 on the bottom is going to cancel with that x minus 4 that I'm multiplying by. This x minus 4 cancels with this one, and the x minus 6 cancels with this one. And then this x minus 6 cancels with this x minus 6. If you don't cancel out all of the denominators, you have a problem. You did something wrong and you need to go back and maybe factor or find the common denominator. I would start with maybe the common denominator first. Okay, so now we have to write what's left over in each of our terms. So in the first term, I have 2x, and then I have this x minus 6 that I'm multiplying by, okay? The next one, all I have is minus 2x minus 5, and then I need to remember eventually to distribute that negative, okay? Equals, and then I have negative 3 times x minus 4. Okay, so I'm going to distribute actually all of these. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 6 is negative 12x. Distribute your negative here. This would be negative 2x, positive 5. Distribute a negative 3, you get negative 3x and positive 12. Positive 12. All right, so now we want to move everything to one side of the equation. So I'm going to add 3x over here. And I'm going to combine those together when I do that. I'm going to subtract 12 and subtract 12, okay? So that cancels. I'm left with 2x squared. Negative 12x, negative 2x is negative 14x, plus 3x is negative 11x. And then positive 5 and negative 12 is negative 7 equals 0, okay? So now just go back and think okay, how do I solve this type of equation? And you have honestly a ton of options. We can factor if it's factorable. You can use the quadratic formula. So if I think to factor, that's what I always try to do first. So let me just change the pen color here. I would move the 2 out of the way and I'd make this x squared minus 11x minus 14. And then I'm trying to think, are there factors of negative 14 that add to give me negative 11? And there are not. So I'm not going to factor. I'm going to undo all of that. I'm going to use the quadratic formula. So x equals negative b, that'd be positive 11, plus or minus the square root of b squared, negative 11 squared, minus 4ac, so 4 times 2 times negative 7, all over 2a, 2 times 2, okay? And then very carefully, I know we've done quadratic formula before, so very carefully, I'm going to plug this into my calculator. So 11, I'm going to add first, plus the square root of negative 11 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 7. And then divided by 2 times 2. Oops. So I'm just going to say divided by 4 because I didn't enter that quite right. All right, so when I do that, I got 6.076. So 6.076. That's if I do plus. So now I'm going to re-enter that into my calculator, except instead of doing negative 11 plus the square root of all that, I'm going to say minus. So I can just kind of scroll up and do minus. And then I'm going to take that and divide it by 2 times 2 on the bottom is 4. And I got negative 0.576. And those should be my 2 answers. And if you look up here, those are the 2 answers, okay? So once we get rid of the fractions and we figure out, oh, we can't factor it, so we've got it down to an easy equation, we can't factor it, then I just use the quadratic formula, okay? All right, let's do that again. So again, my first step is, if I look at this question number 3, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So if I look at question number 3, my first step is take a look at your denominators and see if any of them can factor. So like the first one is 3x minus 2, that's good, it doesn't factor. 3x plus 2, good, it doesn't factor. This one does factor. So 9x squared minus 4. So I see those are 2 perfect squares, like I can take the square root of both of those. So this is going to be, the square root of 9x squared is 3x, the square root of 4 is 2. So I do 3x plus 2 and 3x minus 2, okay? So that's the factored form. So first I'm going to rewrite the whole thing in factored form. So just basically change that last one. So I have x plus 3 over 3x minus 2 minus x minus 3 over 3x plus 2 equals 44 over, and I'm just changing that denominator to the factored form, 3x plus 2, 3x minus 2. Okay, so then, and I always do this, you don't have to write it out if you don't want to. So my LCD, again, I just kind of start with the first factor is 3x minus 2. So I have 3x minus 2, and then I just look to see if there are any others. So yep, there's one right here, so that's taken care of. And then I have another factor is 3x plus 2. So I'm going to include that in my LCD, 3x plus 2, and that would also take care of this one over here, okay? Okay, so all of my denominator factors are taken care of. Now I'm going to multiply everything by my LCD, okay? So multiply this first fraction by all of this, 3x minus 2, 3x plus 2, same here, 3x minus 2, 3x plus 2, and same here, 3x minus 2, 3x plus 2. I'm running out of room there. Oops, I'm not actually. Okay. All right, now cancel out. So 3x minus 2 is going to cancel here and here. 3x plus 2 cancels here. The whole thing cancels here, which is very nice. We like that. Okay, so I'm going to write what's left over now. So my first term, I have x plus 3, and I'm multiplying it by 3x plus 2. Minus, and then the second term, I have x minus 3, 3x minus 2. Equals, over here all I have is 44. Okay, so I need to FOIL. So I'm going to FOIL this, or crab claw if you're familiar with that term. So I'm going to do that first. So x times 3x is 3x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 3 times 3x is 9x. 3 times 2 is 6, okay? Now, I'm going to do this part first, and then I'll distribute the negative here in a second. So minus, okay, x times 3x is 3x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Negative 3 times 3x is negative 9x. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. And now I need to distribute this negative. Okay, so this is actually negative 3x squared, positive 2x, positive 9x, negative 6. And this is 3x squared plus, I'm going to go ahead and combine those, 11x plus 6 equals 44. Okay, now, everything on the left-hand side, let's like move it over, or let's combine those. So 3x squared and negative 3x squared, those cancel. That's very nice. I have 11x and 2x and 9x. So 11x and 11x is 22x. Then I have positive 6 and negative 6, those cancel. So 22x equals 44, and this actually ends up being really nice and easy to solve. So I get x equals 2. And hopefully I didn't forget anything. And there's your answer, x equals 2.